William Carter was a man of quiet determination and towering success. In his mid-40s, he had built his company, Carter Innovations, from the ground up. With years of sleepless nights and relentless hard work, he turned a small tech startup into one of the most respected firms in the country. William was humble, polite, and always willing to give people a chance, but his calm demeanor often led people to underestimate him. On this particular Monday morning, William arrived at the office early, as he always did. He liked to take a moment to reflect before the chaos of the day began. His neatly tailored suit, polished shoes, and warm smile belied the struggles he had faced as a young man growing up in a poor neighborhood. His story was one of perseverance, but he rarely talked about it. Meanwhile, in another part of the city, Linda Hastings was preparing for her day. Linda was in her early 30s, a sharp dresser with an air of confidence that often bordered on arrogance. She had recently been hired as a senior consultant for Carter Innovations, but she had no idea who the CEO was. Linda had a habit of judging people by their appearances and backgrounds. She believed success was reserved for a specific type of person, and she often dismissed anyone who didn't fit her narrow view. When Linda arrived at the sleek headquarters of Carter Innovations, she was immediately impressed. The glass walls, modern decor, and bustling energy made her feel like she had finally made it. She strutted to the reception desk, where a young man greeted her politely. "Good morning, ma'am. How can I assist you?" he asked. "I'm Linda Hastings. I have a meeting with Mr. Carter," she replied, glancing around dismissively. Her tone was curt, and she barely looked at the receptionist. "Of course. Please have a seat. He'll be with you shortly," the receptionist said. Linda sat down, scrolling through her phone, unaware that William had been observing her from a distance. He had a habit of watching new hires interact with his staff. It told him a lot about their character. A few minutes later, William approached Linda. He wasn't wearing a name tag or introducing himself as the CEO. Instead, he carried a tray of coffee cups, offering one to her with a friendly smile. "Good morning, Miss Hastings. Coffee?" Linda barely glanced at him. "No, thanks. I'm fine," she said, her tone dismissive. She assumed he was an assistant or a junior staff member. William nodded and walked away, but not before saying, "Mr. Carter will see you soon. Welcome to Carter Innovations." Linda rolled her eyes. "Thanks," she muttered, not even bothering to hide her impatience. She noticed William's skin color and his simple, unassuming demeanor, and she made a snap judgment. "I hope they have better people in senior positions," she thought to herself. When the time for her meeting came, Linda was escorted into the CEO's office. The room was elegant but not ostentatious. Floor-to-ceiling windows provided a stunning view of the city, and the walls were lined with framed awards and photographs. Linda was momentarily awed, but quickly composed herself. She was here to impress. To her utter shock, the man sitting behind the large wooden desk was the same man who had offered her coffee earlier. William looked up, smiled warmly, and said, "Miss Hastings, welcome. I'm William Carter. Please have a seat." Linda's face turned pale. She stammered, "Oh, I didn't realize. I didn't know." William gestured for her to sit. "No need to apologize. Let's get started." As the meeting progressed, Linda found it increasingly difficult to focus. She couldn't shake the embarrassment of her earlier behavior. William, however, remained professional and didn't bring up the incident. He discussed the company's goals and how Linda's expertise could contribute to their success. But just as Linda began to relax, William leaned back in his chair and said, "Miss Hastings, I'd like to share a story with you." Linda nodded, unsure of where this was going. "When I was in my 20s, William began, I applied for a job at a tech firm. I had the skills, the passion, and the determination, but I was turned away because the hiring manager didn't think someone like me belonged in their company. They didn't say it outright, of course, but it was clear. It was one of the most humiliating experiences of my life." Linda shifted uncomfortably in her seat. "That moment stayed with me," William continued. "It fueled my ambition. I promised myself that if I ever built my own company, I would never judge someone by their background, appearance, or where they came from. I would judge them by their character and their work ethic. He paused, letting his words sink in. Miss Hastings, I believe in second chances. I hope you'll take this opportunity to reflect on how you treat people, regardless of who you think they are. Linda's eyes filled with tears. She realized the depth of her mistake and how her prejudices had clouded her judgment. She apologized sincerely, not just for her behavior toward William, but for the attitudes she had carried for years. Over the next few months, Linda worked hard to prove herself, not just in her role, but as a person. She became one of the most dedicated employees at Carter Innovations, earning William's respect and trust. But more importantly, she learned to see people for who they truly were, not who she assumed them to be. William's story and kindness changed her life, and she often thought back to that fateful day in his office. It was a humbling reminder that true greatness comes from humility, respect, and the willingness to learn. That's the story, friends. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a pleasure sharing it with you all. Don't forget to comment below and let me know where you're watching from. It's always fun to see the global reach of these stories. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button for more amazing stories, tips, and tricks. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.